wonder murmur where whispers weave the heart.
Hello, little hearts. A new whisper begins. In a village nestled between rolling green hills and a sparkling river lived a hard-working man and his two daughters, Elara and Lyra. The man, a tailor with hands as quick and steady as a sparrow, worked tirelessly from dawn until dusk. He loved his daughters more than anything, but as they grew, he noticed a great difference between them. Elara, the elder sister, was like the morning sun. She rose with the birds, her hands always busy with chores. She swept the floors until they shone, tended to the small garden with care, and her every action was filled with purpose and a quiet joy. Lyra, the younger sister, was more like the sleep afternoon. She moved slowly, her hands rarely finding work. "Oh, it's already clean," she would sigh. "Why should I get my hands dirty?" She preferred to lie on a blanket in the sun, dreaming of a life of ease and endless relaxation. One evening, as they shared their humble supper of bread and soup, the father looked at his two girls. "My dear daughters," he began, his voice soft but firm. "I love you both very much, but you are now young women. It is time for you to find your own way in the world. Tomorrow, I want you both to leave home and find a job." Elara's eyes lit up with excitement. "Oh, Daddy, you're right. I will find a job and make you proud." Lyra just pouted. "A job? But Daddy, I'm so good at keeping the house. I'll do all the chores while Elara goes out." She knew, and her father knew, that this was just a way to avoid work. But the kind father said nothing more. The next morning, as Elara prepared for her journey, her father knelt and took her hands in his. "My dear girl," he said, "I have some wisdom for you. Listen with your heart. Never refuse someone who asks for help. Always be diligent and honest. And whatever job you are given, do it to the best of your abilities." "I will never forget your words, Daddy," Elara promised, and with a hopeful heart, she set off down the winding path. The path for Elara was long. The sun beat down, and her feet grew tired. After many days of walking without finding a job, she came across an old apple tree. Its branches were dry and tangled, and its roots were choked with brittle weeds. "Hello, young girl," the tree whispered, its voice like the dry rustle of leaves. "Could you please clean my dry branches and give water to my roots? I am so thirsty." Elara's palms were already sore from her long journey, but she remembered her father's words. She spent hours pulling the weeds from the roots until her fingers were stained with dirt, and carefully snapped off the dead branches until her hands were bruised. She then poured the last of her precious drinking water onto the thirsty roots. "Thank you," the tree said, "but now you have no water left." "It is all right," Elara replied with a tired smile. "You needed it more. I can find more water down the road." She continued on her way. Farther down the path, she came to a small cottage. In front of it, a stone hearth lay cracked and crumbling, a sad, empty thing. "Hello, young girl," the hearth called out. "Could you repair my cracks? I am cold and broken." Elara gathered soft mud from a nearby stream and worked patiently, her hands becoming a mess until every crack was sealed. The hearth looked new again. "Thank you," she said. "Clothes don't matter." Elara replied, remembering her father's words. "You needed help, and I helped you." She continued on her way, and soon she came to a small lake where a lovely lamb was standing. But the lamb's fleece, which should have been white, was black with soot and dirt. "Hello, young girl." The lamb bleated softly. "I fell into a coal pile. Would you please bathe me in the lake?" Elara took the lamb in her arms and washed its fleece until it was as white and soft, fresh snow. The lamb was clean, but Elara was now drenched and covered in soot. "It is all right," she said. "You needed help, and I helped you." As dusk fell, Elara came to a beautiful house glowing with a warm, welcoming light. 7 fairies lived there, and they offered her a job. "You may work here, young girl," the head fairy said, her voice like wind chimes. "Our house has 7 rooms. You must clean 6 of them every day, but you must never ever enter the 7th room." Elara happily accepted. For a full year, she worked diligently, cleaning the 6 rooms until they sparkled. No matter how curious she was, she never once peeked into the 7th room. Her father's words echoed in her heart. "Do the job given to you, to the best of your abilities." After a year, Elara had saved enough money and asked to go home. The fairies were so pleased with her honesty and hard work. "Come," the head fairy said, leading her to the 7th room. "You were honest and diligent, and we wish to reward you." Inside, the 7th room was filled with glittering gold and silver coins. "Roll around in the coins," the fairy said. "Whatever sticks to you is yours." Elara tumbled in the coins, and when she emerged, she was covered from head to toe in shining gold. With a heart full of gratitude, she began her journey home. On the way, she met the lamb, who was now covered in sparkling pearls. "I did not forget your kindness," the lamb bleated. "Take as many pearls as you want." Elara put on a beautiful necklace and bracelets of pearls. Next, she found the hearth, now warm and covered in freshly baked bread and cakes. "I did not forget you," it said. "All my delicious breads and cakes are yours." Elara ate and filled her bag. And finally, she came to the apple tree, its branches now heavy with ripe, juicy fruits. "Take all the fruit you wish," it said, its voice full of gratitude. Elara arrived home with her clothes still covered in gold and her arms overflowing with gifts. Her father hugged her tightly, and Lyra, seeing her sister's fortune, turned green with envy. "Look at all that gold," Lyra cried. "I must go too. If she has pearls, I will get emeralds." The next day, Lyra set off. Her father tried to offer her advice, but she ran off before he could finish. Lyra was not going to work. She was going to get rich. She soon came across the same apple tree. "Young girl, would you clean my branches?" it asked. "Clean your what?" Lyra scoffed. "My hair will get messy. I'm not doing that." She walked on. Next, she came to the hearth. "Would you repair my cracks?" it asked. "My hands are delicate," Lyra huffed. "And my nail polish, absolutely not." Finally, she came to the lamb. "Would you bathe me?" it asked. "Ew, you're disgusting," Lyra cried, running away. When night fell, Lyra found the beautiful house and was thrilled to see the 7 fairies. She asked for a job, and the head fairy gave her the same instructions. Clean 6 rooms for a year and do not enter the 7th room. Lyra reluctantly agreed. For a few months, she cleaned. But one day, her curiosity got the better of her. What could possibly be in that room, she wondered. Ignoring the fairy's rule, she entered the 7th room. But instead of gold, the room was filled with angry bees and bats. The bees stung her until she was covered in painful red bumps, and the bats flew wildly around her head. Screaming, Lyra ran from the house, her clothes torn and dirty. As she ran home, she passed the lamb, who was covered in beautiful pearls. Lyra tried to grab them, but the lamb ran away. She passed the hearth, now steaming with hot bread, and when she tried to take a loaf, the hearth burned her fingers. She passed the apple tree, its branches swaying with ripe fruit, and when she reached for a piece, the tree swayed just out of her reach. Finally, Lyra stumbled home, exhausted and covered in mud, her face and hands bruised from the bee stings. Her father and sister rushed to her side, their eyes filled with shock and sadness. "Oh, what happened to you?" Elara cried. Lyra, with tears of shame and pain, told them her story. She finally understood. "You were so right, sister," she sobbed. "I hurt so much. I thought I could get a reward without doing any of the work." Elara hugged her. "Our father taught us that when you are honest and hardworking, life will reward you. We were given the same chance, but our choices were different." From that day on, Lyra changed. She learned to work hard, to be kind, and to be honest. The two sisters worked side by side, their home filled with laughter and love, and their family lived happily ever after, not because of the gold, but because of the goodness in their hearts.
Wonder murmur, the story departs, yet the whisper imparts.